It's been 2 months since Syntax Error came out for Payday 3, and since then we've had very little information with regards to the future of Payday 3, other than Starbreeze assembling a strike team to try and figure out the best path forward to fix the game, boost the player numbers back up, and generally have people interested in Payday 3 again. And today, literally about 2 months after the release of Syntax Error, the date is slightly wrong on here, but I will just say right off the bat, this has been given to me a little bit early by Starbreeze, so I can read through it, make a video for you guys before the announcement drops, so thank you Starbreeze for that. But literally about 2 months after Syntax Error has come out, we've got the post, and I have got it in big, long PNG forms for me to scroll through and read through with you guys. So, we are here to discuss what has very ironically been called Operation Medic Bag, which is going to be Starbreeze's, from what I've been told, full explanation as to what exactly is going to happen over the next 6 months plus for Payday 3. So, I'm very keen to see what they've got to say here. Obviously, bear in mind, this is obviously just going to be them talking about their plan. I don't believe there's any dates given for anything here, so take it with a grain of salt as to when these things come out. I know for a lot of you, myself included, we'll only really start to see things change when we see actions rather than words, but from what I've heard, there are some big words here. So let's get into it, read it through, and see what they've got to say. So last month, they shared a short update letting us know they were working on an updated, comprehensive roadmap of what they're doing for Payday 3 over the course of 2024. So summarizing all feedback from the community, they have identified what they believe will be some of the most impactful changes to Payday 3 and have listed them below. So let's have a look. We have first off 2024 improvement highlights. So key things this year: changes to progression, new content, a UI revamp, stability matchmaking, and a server browser a la CrimeNet from the sounds of it, very good, and solo mode / offline mode. Not sure if there's a difference between the two there, what we're going with. Let's see what they've got to say. Initial focus. We have a little header here for things they're going to focus on in the shorter term. So quick play. Good, we need that. Unready button, play again feature, vote kick, loadout renaming, controller improvements, recurring smaller content drops, rotating stealth modifiers, daily activities with rewards, mask vendor with weekly rotating inventory, merge players into party post-match, and communication wheel improvements. Okay, very, very interesting things here. Initial focus would give me the idea that some of these things are going to show up in the next couple of months, I would hope. But again, additional details on what's coming midterm and long-term published later, so it's hard to really predict exactly how they're going to do things here. But some very good stuff here. Unready button, finally we can stop the memes about how long the game's been out without one. I like play again feature, merging players into a party. Mask vendor sounds interesting. Some very promising stuff here. So let's have a look at the next section though. We've got some key headings based on the feedback from community sources to what they need to focus on. So optimization and reliability, which covers game performance, reliability of the performance and consistency of finding games, UI improvements, technical issues such as crashes, some very inherent Payday stuff there with crashes, etc., but I'm glad that it's all being looked at nonetheless. Teamwork and co-op, so playing with others, making that easier with communication such as VoIP, text chat, how your party is made up and how you communicate. Okay. Replayability and progression. This refers to features that will make playing again easier and more enjoyable, sticking with your group, the infamy system, and more. So we have an infamy system right now in game, but that's your base level. So how are we changing that? Let's see. Fantasy and heisting. This one will reinforce the heisting fantasy, involving a CrimeNet style map, as well as more features to make you feel like a true heister. Okay, very generic. I think CrimeNet's a big win, having a CrimeNet style browser, as I was predicting up there. I do think that's a very good thing to do, but very vague beyond that, so I'm intrigued to know what they mean by that. That seems more like a buzzword thing, but CrimeNet, I like a lot. We do want to tackle the biggest topics brought by the Payday community head on. As such, we put together a list of what we have identified as the key areas of improvement, along with short descriptions for each topic. So let's do it one by one. Oh, good. Start with the big one: solo mode and offline mode. It's clear to us the community wants the ability to play Payday 3 reliably and on your own terms, and in order to meet that need, we will be doing two major changes to the current implementation. Firstly, we'll be developing a standalone solo mode that you can get into without going through the matchmaking flow. Good start. This will be a local game on your own machine, thereby circumventing the need to connect to a server. We see this being rolled out in two phases. Phase 1 will still require an online connection to our backend systems for progression unlocks, etc., whereas Phase 2 will look to improve on the solo mode implementation and allow you to play the game without requiring a constant internet connection. You will need to connect intermittently to our backend to upload your progression, but we will otherwise be able to play offline. We'll need to come back with this on details exactly how this will pan out. Yeah, you're going to need to, because that... I can see what they're going for, but I think it's a little bit vague because it doesn't really explain quite how offline it's going to be. I'm not surprised them saying you'll have to intermittently connect to the back end. That makes sense, and I would hope that even for people with weaker internet connections, that's more manageable. I'm thinking maybe something like Hitman 3 connecting to servers to upload like leaderboard progression, things like that. But can you pause the game? That's not mentioned at all. It's a big thing for, at least for me, when I'm trying to get solo gameplay. If I have something to do to go somewhere and I can't pause the game to answer the door or to make food or to go to the toilet, for goodness sake, like, you know, I would very much appreciate that being mentioned, and it hasn't been. But I'm very glad that they are at least acknowledging an offline mode, and I'm going to be intrigued to see how this plays out. But again, this will need more details, and I imagine most of the information will come through via how it's executed. So we'll see where that goes. But at least they made it the top priority. It's no longer on the table. We need a different word. On the desk? I don't know. Or maybe having a metaphor at all is probably a bad idea. Let's be real here. Anyway, stability, matchmaking, and server browser next. On the topic of cooperative play, our matchmaking isn't doing a good job of bringing people together. You can say that again. We have a number of social and cooperative features planned for the year, as well as rebuilding our matchmaking functionality into a much more robust system. Okay, again, very vague, but until these features are implemented, the current matchmaking will be supported by a quick play functionality, ensuring you can reliably play with other players. Later in the year, we're looking to bring back a CrimeNet-style server browser. Okay, I mean, it was in the game files. We know that they were working on that at one point or another, so that's hopefully not going to be super difficult for them, but who knows? I mean, saying later in the year, that gives them, up to 10 months to get it out, so who knows what the kind of trajectory is going to be there. There's a lot of vagueness going on, but we will get more information as time goes by, and I did read, I think, later on it says there's going to be a weekly developer blog, so I'm hoping that that will shed more information, and this is just a taste, because I'm hearing good things, but I do want to know more, but that's what happens when you have 2 months where you hear basically nothing. Challenge-based progression. Right, what are you cooking here? Based on your feedback as part of our optimization and reliability initiative, our current challenge-based progression did not achieve the goals we intended, so we've decided to do away with the current system. What, altogether? The challenge will be removed and we'll switch to Infamy progression to be tied to heist completion. As part of this, we'll revisit all current heist payout values, add scaling per bag secured for Infamy points, and also a new bonus that rewards loud playstyles. The existing challenge framework will be repurposed to give cosmetic rewards for hardcore accomplishments instead. Wow. Okay, so that, I mean, obviously, execution will prove this rather than words. I am not under any illusion regarding that, but that's completely changing a core gameplay system, which they have defended tooth and nail since the beta, and have just been trying to tweak it to keep it around. So I'm very, very surprised, but quite impressed, to be honest, that they've just gone, do you know what, we'll bin it, people will prefer it without it. So very, very good. I would argue just buffing the overall value of the bags and then not having a stealth bonus at all would be better if you're doing it so both have benefits, but whatever, that's for them to work out. But yeah, the existing challenging framework being repurposed, that suggests that it links to what it said above about daily activities and rewards. So maybe there'll still be like daily challenges again, akin to Payday 2 side jobs, and that's the most that you'll get in that regard, in which case I'm very happy with that. I think that's going to be a very good improvement to Payday 3, although the people who spent ages grinding those challenges are going to be very sad to hear that. Oh dear, I don't envy you guys. I don't envy you guys. But either way, in the grand scheme of things, this will be the better call for Payday 3. UI revamp is interesting though. We'll be working on creating a more intuitive UI that better explains what's happening around the player, as well as a simplified friends menu and a menu UI that better communicates the heisting theme. We'll be rolling out improvements and eventually a revamp of most of the current UI during 2024. Okay, again, very generic, but intriguing. I mean, maybe I'm on my own here, but I don't think Payday 3's in-game UI is particularly bad. I think it's perfectly fine. There are extra things you could do here and there, like letting people know what deployable you have, things like that. There's definitely ways to improve it. I know a lot of people complained about the police assault thing at the top of the screen being too bland. Again, maybe it's just me, but I wasn't too bothered by that. If they do bring back some big red alert thing at the top, like the Payday 2 one, though, you won't hear me complain. I will say that much. It'll be perfectly fine if they do change it. Right, so here's the big kicker. In addition, we intend to deliver on and expand our promises for new content. There are 3 DLCs still planned for 2024, and we intend to add another free heist to Payday 3 in the same period. We will also be rolling out skill lines, cosmetic items, rewards, a free LNG primary, and much more throughout the year. Okay, couple of questions. First off, shouldn't there be 4 DLCs in 2024? Because year 1 ends in September, there's 3 more DLCs for that, and then there's no doubt going to be DLC in the end of 2024 for the start of year 2, no? Or is that being scrapped? Are we spreading things out more? Is year 1 going to take us to the end of 2024 now? That could do a clarification. On top of that, another free heist in the same period in 2024? Only 1 free heist? My hope is that that's bad wording and they mean 1 new original heist and classic heists are still going to come in the meantime. Because if they really drop 2 free heists in November and then we only get 1 free heist throughout 2024, that is going to be quite bad. I will just put my cards on the table. That's not going to be enough. I know they've got a lot to fix, but just fixing the game, you need to do that in tandem with new content, and you can't put it all behind DLCs, especially considering the next heading, the DLC pricing was not very consumer-friendly. So, intrigued to see what they do with that. However, rolling out skill lines, good. Cosmetic items, good. Rewards, good. Free LMG primary, so only the confirmation of 1 weapon. Again, feels like they're maybe promising the bare minimum, and I'm hoping they'll deliver above that. But in a way, I kind of respect it, because if they overpromise and then don't deliver, then they're going to get people complaining at them, so whatever. An LMG is definitely needed in the game. Surprised they're going the primary route. I kind of expected them to go the overkill route with it, but I'm more than happy to receive an LMG either way. Big LMG enjoyer from Payday 2 here. A bit of underselling, I think, going on here, or maybe it just is the bare minimum, and they are, maybe internally, without speculating too much, because I don't like to do that behind the scenes very much, because I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but maybe they are a little worried that they're going to spend so much time fixing the game that it's compromising how much free content they can add. It's a catch-22 situation. situation. People want the game fixed, people want new content, you gotta try and balance it, so maybe they're just promising what they know they can do, and hopefully it'll be better than that. But DLC pricing, they've received feedback regarding DLC pricing not meeting player expectations, and as a result, they're currently reviewing the pricing on upcoming DLCs. This is one that's going to connect to the publisher as well as the developer. This is going to be a much more business-wide thing. It's probably not the easiest thing to just upright overall change, so I can appreciate them being vague on this one in particular. I really do hope they drop it, but we'll see what happens. They're reviewing it, so that sounds like their way of saying on the table until they can figure out a proper solution, so that one I'm not going to read into too much. In-game store. Once we are satisfied with the improvements we're intending to make to Payday 3, we'll revisit this topic in 2025. Oh, we're talking microtransactions here, aren't we? So I should mention this because I mentioned it in a lot of videos recently, and I still get comments and messages in my Discord and on streams going, what do you want about microtransactions? In case you don't know until this point, microtransactions, so in-game purchases like V-Bucks for Fortnite, were leaked for Payday 3 before the game came out. They were leaked to an extent where Starbreeze had to go, okay, you've seen the leaks, they are coming, but not at launch, they'll come later down the line. And ever since then, it's been in the FAQ, they're still going to come at some point, and they've not at any point acknowledged that they're not going to remove them, or they're not going to add them, anything like that. I'm personally of a mind that they should not add microtransactions to this game. The reason being, if you're doing post-launch support for a game, you pick one of two avenues. You go DLC, or you go microtransactions. If you go both, your game gets over-bloated, too many things are behind price tags, and it just turns off the average consumer. I don't mind microtransactions in a game if they're well executed, they're cosmetic, they don't impact gameplay, and they're not overly, hard to get hold of. Like, you can earn them in games. Fortnite, for all of the people that don't like it, I think has executed it very well, at least for someone who plays a bit of Save the World and can earn V-Bucks for free. But most games have not managed to do it very well. And if you're adding them to Payday 3, a game that's already got DLC, it's too much. So I personally would prefer them to just go, do you know what, we're not adding them, and just finally close the door on it. But again, like DLC pricing, methinks the publisher has got a bit too much of a say in that. I wonder if Deep Silver / Plyon are the ones going, hey, you gotta put the microtransactions in the game. Can you do it? Can you do it now? So who knows? Because I just, in my heart of hearts, I know they've not made a very good launch Payday 3, and I know Starbreeze is not a perfect studio. I've got my problems with how they've executed a lot of things, especially in the last 6 months. But I genuinely find it so hard to believe that it's just them on their own being like, add microtransactions. They know after CrimeFest 2015 how bad that went for Payday 2, that they shouldn't repeat it. So I honestly think that's probably publisher input. But regardless, the point is, it being delayed at all, I will take it. Something is better than nothing. I just want a cancellation now overall. Unreal Engine 5. We have reallocated the resources dedicated to the Unreal 5 engine update to instead work on the improvements to the Payday 3 experience. Since the Unreal Engine 5 update wouldn't directly fix the current problems, we'll come back to this topic once we are able. So, okay, this is the least surprising thing in here. Unreal Engine 5 was meant to be the upgrade for the engine for Payday 3 before the year was out, or the game's first year was out in September. So if you haven't seen, again, Fortnite's a good example. They updated from Engine 4 to 5 for Unreal between chapters 3 and 4 of Fortnite, and it made the game look much better visually, graphic quality, textures, everything was just far better. So it will make Payday 3 look better, but I do firmly agree with the decision here that that is not as important as fixing the game and also getting new content out. And again, I'm hoping that maybe because they're shifting the Unreal Engine 5 team, however big that is, to fixing the game, that there can still be enough people working on free content for the game. I'm a bit worried about balance there, but that's a good sign that they are reevaluating priorities, and I appreciate that a lot. Okay, initial focus. So again, we've seen this all already. We've read it through. Many things mention need preparation or other features in place to be implementable. So these things, are not like coming anytime soon for the most part from the sounds of it. However, there are a number of items we can start working on immediately, and as such, we have a list of goals we'd like to finish by summer 2024. Summer ends in August, so that gives them 6 months to add all these things. We won't go into great detail on any of these topics, but that will list them here. And again, as you can see, I've read them out before, so you can read them again if you wish, but I'm not going to read through them all again. 6 months is a while for a lot of this stuff to be added, but it depends. The often common argument is, oh, this is a very easy thing to fix. From what I've read from other studios, Starbreeze themselves, and everyone else that makes video games, I know in particular Larian, who made Baldur's Gate 3, because of course I'm going to mention Baldur's Gate 3. It's been 2 months, I'm still bloody addicted to it. But like, they've made comments before about certain features being like, hey, you might think this is easy, but it's not. Developing, I think, is a lot harder behind the scenes than a lot of general players would make it out to be. So maybe some of these features are much more challenging than you might think. But there you go. So these things we can expect in the next 6 months. So by August, end of summer 2024. So it'll be interesting to come back to this in 6 months and see if everything was added. For the latest news, we'll keep you updated on the Payday 3 development blog, where information about the mid and long-term changes will be posted as soon as we have development updates. We'd like to invite you to a Reddit AMA. Oh, that's going to be a dumpster fire. To answer questions about the content of this post early next week. More details coming soon. Oh, I'm glad they're doing it, but I really do not envy whoever's going to do that. That is going to be chaos in that Reddit. I mean, if you've seen the Payday Discord, you don't need to even question what the Reddit would be like when people are asking questions to Starbreeze. I hope people will be respectful, but my hopes are not high. We're releasing the first of these Payday 3 developer blogs next week, and throughout the year, we'll dive into the topics mentioned today to keep you all informed on our progress. Right, so it's not weekly. I thought it might have been weekly. Clearly it isn't. I don't know. So it's some kind of frequency. Maybe it'll be monthly. In fact, it might make more sense for it to be monthly, like the dev update videos they were doing. That would make more sense, but who knows. And lastly, a heartfelt thank you to all heisters who have shown their passion by leaving feedback, reviews, and comments telling us what Payday 3 can and should be. Signed, the Payday 3 team. I'm out of breath. That's a lot of reading. Right, so general thoughts. I'm not going to go into too much because I've kind of already shared my thoughts going throughout, but overall conclusions, they are making some very big promises here. Some very good things. And we can sit here and say, oh, these things should have been in the game for the start. These things should have been this way. These things should have been that way. Payday 3 launched, it launched badly, and they're trying to fix it. That's what matters the most here. And as a lot of you know, I am always trying to be optimistic. I'm always trying to find the positive in things. So I will sit here and say that the positive of this, they are finally clearly taking the problem seriously. They have been dodging them, going, this feature wasn't in Payday 2 at launch, so why would it be in Payday 3? Or it's on the table. This is actual, okay, we should listen. We're listening. And I greatly appreciate that. It isn't enough for me yet, and I doubt it's enough for all of you watching, purely because, as I said earlier, actions speak louder than words. They can make all these promises, but until they deliver on them, I'm going to be very, very patient. I'm going to be patient, but also hesitant, because I want to see how this is executed. Is this going to make me start playing Payday 3 today? Not at all. I'm not going to start playing Payday 3 properly again because they're promising good things. I will start playing again when the good things come. So my big question now is, when is the first update going to be? It's been 2 months since the last one in December. I'm really hoping they've been cooking and they're going to like shadow drop something in the next couple of weeks. It'd be great if they could have a couple of the initial focus things in the next month. I'd love that. But again, they've not promised any real timelines other than the next 6 months, so it's hard to know. And that's why I'm saying, be optimistic, be realistic, however you feel, totally valid. I'm personally just going to be patient and wait out and see what happens here. As always, as soon as there's news, you guys know I'll talk about it. It sounds like the next video I will make will be on this development blog next week. Maybe combine the AMA into it as well if it happens at the exact same time, because it seems that both of them happen next week. Maybe I'll do 2 separate videos. We'll see, depends on the timeline. But I will keep you all posted as soon as I hear any news, as per usual. But apart from that, thank you all very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. And if you want to check out more videos from this channel, then click the subscribe button. You can also check out my second channel, Troy's Thoughts, to hear me talk about non-Payday things while we're waiting for more news here. Been trying to upload a little bit more on there, and coming up very soon, I'm planning on doing a review of Madam Web, because that's an interesting topic right now, and I'm very intrigued to see what people think about that. So if you want to hear me talk about random nerdy stuff that's not Payday, go check that out. But apart from that, thank you all for hanging out. I'll see you all very soon in another video, or over in one of my Twitch streams, another one happening tonight at twitch.tv/RedArcherLive. Thank you for your support. I truly appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.